Alright, what's up guys? I'm Alex Rome and today I have another Future Bass tutorial for you. I'm going to be showing you how to make this Future Bass drop here. But before I get into this, I want to explain something about it. You can see it's very complex. There's a lot of parts to it. And that's because it is very complex, because the title of this video is how to make a complex Future Bass drop. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to break it into a couple videos. And I'm gonna in the coming videos I'll show you how to make each sound with the synthesizer. In this video I'm just basically going to show you what sounds I used and what layers I used to make this Future Bass drop happen. So you will learn something from this video. So I'm gonna go ahead and play this for you, and then I will show you how I made it. Alright, so as you can see, I even colored it in for you guys. I never ever colored it in. It like looks so funny right now to me, but I had to do it because I want to make this as simple as possible for you guys. So before I even get into this, you could see these 4 layers here are all bass sounds. These layers here are all chords, so if I were to solo these, so basically all the chords I use are yellow, all the leads I use are right here, and I will definitely show you how to make these in my next video. Very simple. And of course my drums will be all red. Okay, so let's get started. Up top you can see here I used 4 bass sounds. So the first sound I used was not the sub bass, actually it was not the square either. So the finger bass. What the finger bass is it's just a preset that I got from Reactor Prism from Native Instruments, and it sounds like this. And what I did, if you can like see all these notes here, none of them go at the same time, and that's because you don't want your bass to crash into each other. You want it to be nice and each sound hitting on its own time, because if you had, say, this prepared bass, or the finger bass with the bass pluck, it would sound like shit. So I have both of them hitting at different times so I can have a nice rhythm of bass hits. And that's what happened. Like, I did that to kind of like keep a nice rhythm going, because my drums, I think they kind of don't do the rhythm any justice. So I really tried to use like nice stabby basses. So that's that bass. I could have used a nice like electric bass like guitar, but I didn't have access to it when I made this. I just threw it together, and I actually think that worked out kind of good, that preset bass. So obviously the next bass sound you hear is a pretty basic bass. Just look up on YouTube how to make a bass pluck, or wait until I put out my next video, which will show how to do that, or it's my next 2 videos. One of them will have how I made that bass pluck. This is just a bass sound to like kind of fill in all the gaps I had. That was the last sound I made, so what my what this first sounded like without these was this. And so I had to fill in those gaps with something, and I don't like this sound, what it sounds like in the when everything's playing at once, because it's really like soft. It's not like hard enough, but I do want to end up making something a little harder as I continue to work on this. See, like, these two basses are really like in your face, and then this one's just kind of like near, like fucking sounds like a cartoon character. It's really stupid. That's Sylenth 1. Everything is Sylenth 1 besides that finger bass, clearly, because you can't make something like that in Sylenth 1. This is just sub bass. This layers these chords. So without this, these chords have no low end. Interesting. So what I didn't do here was I didn't low cut that, and I didn't even notice it. Wow. That was a mistake. So now to the chords, these big chords. So I'll get to the noise gate after, and then I'll get to the atmosphere after again. So, oh shit. So what I want to show you is what these originally looked like. So right now they look like this. You can see they're pretty sizable chords. 5 layers of notes. Not crazy, just like what I don't know music theory, so I just kind of clicked in what sounded good, and I ended up liking this. But what these first sounded like is this. But I had to really build it into a rhythm. So I did what I typically do in Future Bass, and I just I shortened up these chords, tightened them up, brick-walled the release, and so now there's little tail end coming from the and I get those screaming chords. So this, what plugins did I use for these? Nexus 2 I use for these just to kind of make, these are kind of like the warmer sounding ones. And then I use Sylenth for these screamers. And these are the layer of chords with the chorus on it, because I wanted these to be in the outside of your ears, like kind of like spread out. These were the original. And they have a lot of mono. They didn't have enough spread for me. I really wanted them to have spread. So here's with the layer. Here's without. It doesn't just get louder. If you notice, it really pops into your ears when you use the chorus layer. So, and then this is just the background sound. Wait, that's the noise gate. Never mind. Fuck those. This one. They're just to make noise, to add a lot of reverb and tail to the background of the chords. Nothing aggressive about them, but you don't really notice them. That's the point of them. So that's how I did that. And of course, like I said, in my next video, I will definitely show you how to make each of these sounds. I want to show you how I made these, because I really like them. They sound nice and disco-y. So now we're on to the blue section, which is my leads. So if you notice, when I have the first layer here, it does not have that plucky kind of sound to it. That's because you do need a couple layers to make this sound, and if you notice, this region and these notes are not exactly lined up on this one, and that's how you get that plucky sound. I have these higher pitched ones here, layered these, and when they play at the same time with these ones set back just a little bit, it's a really, really nice sound you get. A nice pluck, really fancy. You could do so much shit with that. And then I took this sound and I put chorus on it. So now it's just, this is really a pretty complex pluck, but it sounds really simple. But there's actually a lot of stuff to it that made that chord do what I wanted it to do, or that pluck to do what I wanted it to do. And this is all Sylenth 1. I'll show in depth how to make that. And so now I want to show you what I did here with these leads. The leads kind of do their own thing, and then the vocal hits at a different spot, and this is what creates the rhythm. If I had this layering these, it would not sound good. I wanted this to hit on its own time just to create that rhythm. So to get a nice flow, that's the whole point of this track, I think. If you see, I have these leads hitting, then this vocal cut hitting, and then I have a nice pluck bass and finger bass, so it's a nice rhythm. So watch when these all go. It's just, they all hit at their own time, but they create this awesome rhythm. Had you layered all of them and made them play at the same time, it wouldn't sound as funky and cool. So it's 5 different sounds. It's actually 4 different sounds that play on their own time to create this rhythm. And then of course I had this bass line just layering these, but it's not an aggressive bass line, so it doesn't take the lead. So all together you get that nice rhythm, and if we bring in the kick with these chords, you get that nice rhythm just by separating everything. Like, you can have stuff hitting at different times, and it doesn't sound muddy because it's not like layered to death, and they all kind of, you're only hearing one sound at like a certain part of the, so like when the marker is here, you're only hearing chords through the sound. You don't hear chords and leads, you just hear chords. And then when the marker goes from here to here, at this point you're only hearing one sound. You're only hearing the leads and the bass line, but it's the leads are the takeaways here, like the loud sound. And then you have the vocals, the only thing hitting there too, with the bass line. And so it doesn't get muddy, but it could be really complex without getting muddy, because you only have one sound playing at a time. They're taking turns, and that's what creates the rhythm, and you don't have sounds just layering to death. And then of course just another supersaw layers here, and that's the only time I really wanted to layer these leads. And since I only did it just a couple times, it's easy to listen to, because you can see throughout the duration of the drop, I only have these saw layers a couple times. So moving on to my drums, which I didn't like that much. It's all ultra beat. You can see I kind of went ultra beat crazy because I like ultra beat, but what I don't like about these drums is the hi-hats. I was having trouble fitting them in. When I would have them in there, they would make it really muddy because, like I said, this isn't really a layer based track. It's kind of like really separated. That's what I did with it, and it's kind of funny when I made the song like kind of like separation bass, had everything hitting at their own time, and I layered drums on them. It didn't agree with me. When I had hats hitting, it would make I had like loud hi-hats. It would make the song sound like shit because they were layered. So I had to turn the hi-hats down, and I think the song loses a bit of drive because of that, but I couldn't figure out a way around that yet. So you can see here, let me solo this. This is just a kick layer. And these are the only hi-hats I really... They're like, yeah, they're the only hi-hats I have. So I had to layer those to make them bright. And the more hi-hats I put in there, the shittier the song sounded. Of course, I have the snare and the kick on the same layer. I never do that, but it worked out good for me. And then these are just a couple extra hi-hats that I threw in there. This one is so worthless because it's so quiet, but it's there. I mean, I can hear it if I listen for it. Okay, so these symbols, the point of these are not these are actually just layers for these chords, and that's a very typical thing I do. I layer chords with symbols, and it makes them really bright. It fills out the high spectrum of the EQ. And then here I just have this noise gate triggering these chords. Where are they at? And the point of those is just to make the rhythm again. I just had those hitting at their separate times, and they really added to it. So that is what I'm going to explain for this video. So I'm immediately, when I'm done recording this one, I'm going to record how I made each individual sound with the synthesizer. So you have a lot of videos coming out with this drop that's going to be in it. So yeah, just stay tuned, and thanks for watching.